On today's episode, I travel across state lines to spend the night with two men I met on the internet. Wait. Welcome to Haul Yeah Comics. My name is Nate, and I have issues. Today's issues all come from Nashville, Tennessee, and I picked them up hunting with my internet friends in real life. How cool is that? Hagan from Lettuce Comics and I both got invited by Dope from Dope Comics to come down to Tennessee, hang out with him, and he was going to show us some of the places he likes to go digging. That is extremely cool. He was an extremely generous host. We had the best time. And I'd love to show you footage of us digging, but I didn't take any. For three comic book YouTubers, we did not take any comic book hunting video at all. None of us. We spent our time just hanging out together, and that was cool. That was the better choice. That was the better experience. So, I have a couple of photos that I took, but honestly, when it comes to footage, there's none. My only evidence of this is my memories and the books that I picked up, of course. But, more importantly was just the fun of hanging out with these two guys who have really become friends. And I will admit I was a little nervous. There's something different about when we do a comic book hangout. You're in your house, you're in a room that you're comfortable with, and you're talking to people who are all over the world, literally. But when you're done, you can just turn the camera off and you're back at your house. We were trapped together for a weekend, and there was just this little bit of trepidation I had, was our friendship going to translate to real space, meat space, instead of just the virtual space. And it absolutely did. I just had a blast. And if anything, it just makes me all the more excited for Heroes Con, when I'm going to get to see these two guys again, as well as several other people from the community. It's going to be a great time. So what happened was, when we arrived, one of the first things we did is we all had books for each other and we exchanged them. So if I don't start showing books soon, we're going to be here all day. Buckle up, strap in, and let's take a look at some comic books. So first things first, when I arrived, like I said, we had gifts for each other, of course, comic books, and we gave each other those books, and I'm going to show you the ones that I got from them. Hagan gave me a book that's been on my list for a long time. It is Captain America number 405. This is, of course, the Capwolf episode. So I'm a fan of body transformation and horror and everything else. So this ticks a lot of boxes. The fact that it's Captain America and that it's a gift from him makes it all the more special. And then Dope just gave me an incredible stack of weird. And I hope you watch his channel. He loves weird books, and I do too. And he passed several along to me. So let's check those out. First up, from Young Animal with Mike Allred art, we've got Bug. Now, I know he has something to do with Jack Kirby in the Fourth World. He is a character who I know is in Cosmic Odyssey, which I've read. So I'm excited to have this for a character that I like and for an artist that I love. Up next, we got a fairly recent book. We've got Badger number 1. This one was written by Mike Barron, who I think is an original creator of the Badger. And so this is a recent book that came out not too long ago, and I didn't pick it up because, I love Ridiculous, but it was $7. So Dope was able to get it a little bit cheaper than that. He read it, I'm assuming, and passed it along to me, which is either a good or a bad sign. I'm not sure which. Now this one we're going to book club. This is Scorpio Rose. He gave me a copy of this. He gave Hagan a copy of this. He has a copy of this, and I'm almost positive he has another copy for Eric from SideQuest Comics. So when we all get together at Heroes Con, we're gonna have to read this one and talk about what we thought of Scorpio Rose from Eclipse Comics. This is issue number 1. Sadly, I know Dope did not like this book. I'm glad he gave it to me because it's an amazing cover and it is a hilarious title. It is Sonia Devereaux, Combat Nurse. It is Sonia Devereaux, Combat Nurse, Hospital Under Siege. It really gives me those lady cop vibes from the first issue special in Danger Street, but he said it just wasn't very good and didn't hold up, and that's a shame because it does look hilarious. She's protecting this patient. Out of my way, there's a contract on that guy. She's got a gun. She's going to kill him, and Sonia Devereaux, the combat nurse, is protecting him. It's a great concept. Too bad it didn't work out. Murder Stalks Floor 7. I still can't wait to read it, even if it is terrible. He gave me 2 issues of Starman. So Starman by, I can't remember the writer's name, but Tony Harris did the art. I really like Tony Harris. This is issue 0. They have great painted covers. And then this is issue 1. This is a very acclaimed run. Like, people that like Starman, you know, this particular run, they really like it, and they talk about it a lot. It's one that's been on my list for a while that I want to read. The painted Tony Harris covers are really good, so I was really excited to get this. This one's weird. Well, you know, a lot of them are weird. But this is Justice League number 71, and this is one I actually don't have. This is from the Death of Superman time period, but if you look at that sticker there, it says, not for minors. Not for sale to minors. I don't exactly know why. I don't recall anything happening in here that was completely out of line, so I'm going to check this out and see what was so offensive in here that kids weren't allowed to read it. I mentioned first issue special just a minute ago. He gave me a great one. This is the first issue special with Dr. Fate. Dope and I both loved the Danger Street miniseries that Tom King wrote, where he incorporated characters from all of these first issue specials to create a cohesive story. So this one is really cool to have. I think I do have this one already in my collection. So, you know, look for a copy of this in a future giveaway. Very cool. Anytime I can get a first issue special, I pick it up. Now, I don't know what this is a Doomsday special, and I hope I can do a good job of showing off the cover. It's awesome. Now, the name of the artist here is Puppeteer, like for serious. It's like right down there. And I don't know any work by this person, but their Doomsday is just a big hulking monster, and I think it is very cool. He gave me a signed comic. This is Devil's Doll. It's always a little creepy whenever you have a ventriloquist dummy or a doll with dead eyes or clowns in general. But what I thought was cool is the signature on the comic itself says Leon 22, and then in 24, the same artist must have signed it at a show or something. So this is actually a signed book. I'm sure it's worth a ton of money. I have no idea what it is. I can't, again, like, I'm really excited to read these things that he gave me because he has such an ability to find weird books. So Devil's Doll looks creepy, might be funny, but signed, how cool is that? This next one, he showed off on a stream. I wrote it down. I've been looking for it. It's Gary Gianni's Monster Men. And this is a modern book, but it has such a cool cover. The painted art is awesome, but it's for the Skull and the Snowman. We've got a woman who's being attacked by zombies down here, a guy in a knight helmet, but carrying a handgun, and he, behind him, has a skeleton who's going to strangle him with a chain. It's also got a Hellboy story in it, apparently. So this is just a wild cover. Wild. I absolutely love it. The Skull and the Snowman. I mean, to me, like, this guy in the tuxedo with the knight helmet, it's like somebody was just hitting randomize on a character creation tool on a video game or something. But great cover. It just, like I said, it just has a very classic horror comic painted cover look to it, even though it's a modern book. And the title is ridiculous. So I cannot wait to dive into this one. All right, a random issue of Charlton Comics' The Phantom. This is a very cool painted cover. This is issue number 69. Nice. Very cool. I feel like we've been coming across these books for a while and talking about them. Topps Comics did these Jack Kirby books. Jack Kirby did these books for Topps. And so this is Jack Kirby's Secret City Saga. This is the issue number 2. This is the first appearance of Bill Clinton on the cover of a comic book. So that's what this book is known for. That's a little wacky, and that's fun to have. But in addition to that, I also got issue number 3, which is the second cover appearance of Bill Clinton. And I love that he's tied to this table, and this guy has implements of either torture or, I don't know, dissection, vivisection, who knows. But these are weird and great. Speaking of Jack Kirby, how about a Jimmy Olsen with one of the weirdest Draculas I've ever seen? So this is Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, issue number 142, and this is the era where Jack Kirby was drawing it, and it could not look more Kirby. This lion down here, Jimmy, and of course the vampire, it's just Kirby to the core. This is very cool. This is one I've seen more than a few times and just have never pulled the trigger on, so I'm really happy to get this and add one more to my Jimmy Olsen collection. And then there's even more that he gave me here. So some more Silver Age goodness. This is Jerry Lewis number 83. This one has great movie monsters on the cover. I have been picking up Jerry Lewis mainly for cover buys. They do have great covers. They haven't been great reads, the ones I've read so far. Maybe this one will break that trend. Because, come on, classic movie monsters, it's really hard not to just love something like that. This is a great cover. 2 issues of Rip Hunter Time Master. So this is issue number 26, where he's going to be executed. We've got an axeman wearing his mask, and Rip is being taken up to to have his head chopped off. And someone in the audience, it must be a fellow time traveler. I really don't know much about Rip Hunter, but she's yelling, "He's innocent! Won't someone help him?" And they're calling him an evil wizard. They're going to execute him, probably because he knows science or could do 2-digit multiplication. And then there's a second Rip Hunter that I really like. It reminds me of the Animorphs books. So this is issue number 28, where Rip is being transformed into this monster. And I just love anything with body horror or body transformation. So there's some kind of like wizard back here. The wizard warned you. He's changed Rip into a creature. So, I'm sorry, that's even better. It says, "Oh no, just as that long dead wizard warned, he's turned Rip into a creature." I love that an old wizard curse is turning him into some kind of monster. This is gold. Actually, it's Silver Age, but it's awesome. This next one is really cool. So this is a 10-center from 1960. I've never heard of the company or the title before. So it's from a company called Prize Group, and it is Black Magic, The Strangest Stories Ever Told. So this is a 10-center. This is an old horror book. I don't know if it's an anthology or if it's an ongoing. I kind of hope it's an anthology because I love old anthology horror. But just the age and the fact that it's something I'd never heard of, and it's a genre I like. This is really cool to get. Now, of course, I did mention that he likes weird stuff, and this one here definitely qualifies. So this is from Aircell. This is a company that keeps coming up a lot. It's an independent, black and white, from the 80s. So this one is called Leather and Lace. And I don't know what's going on. We got some lizard people being caressed by dominatrix lady, like they're posing for a picture. But here's the weirdest part. Up here at the top, it says, "All new, written and illustrated by Barry Blair, general audiences." I mean, I have to ask you, does this look like something for general audiences? Is this the kind of book you're going to grab and say, "You know what, family, tonight we're reading Leather and Lace"? I don't know, but I'm going to read Leather and Lace and see what I think. All right, I've got 2 more to go that Dope gifted me, and this one is just one of my all-time favorites. This is Star Trek. I don't know the issue number because it's a gold key. They don't usually put those on there, but how awesome is that cover? We've got a giant Cyclops. He's got the Star Trek crew in his hands down here. I just can't. I love these old, the old Dell and Gold Key. There's Whitman. The older Star Trek comics really did some weird stuff, and I'm really excited to check this out. And then the last thing he gave me is so freaking cool. This is Monsters of the Movies issue number 1. This has Spock in an awesome painted illustration fighting a giant centipede of some kind. Now, this is not a comic book. This is a movie magazine. So inside, it's got articles about science fiction and fantasy TV shows and movies and things. And one of the things that was referenced in here is the movie Zardoz. If you don't know Zardoz, starring Sean Connery, stick around because that's going to come up again later. I mean, look. We got a picture of Vampira. She was the one who was in Plan 9 from Outer Space, I'm pretty sure. A cover story, tons of stuff about Leonard Nimoy. Some great action shots of him from the original Star Trek TV show. And then there's Zardoz, starring Sean Connery. And these black and white images do it no justice. Zardoz is apparently based on a novel. I found that out recently because I actually came across the novel at a Half Price Books, And these black and white images do it no justice. So just to give you a taste of what's coming later, Zardoz. So this is super cool. And keep in mind, I just showed you a ton of books. I've spent $0 so far. This is just what awaited me when I got there as gifts for my friends. So how cool is that? So, I mean, this stack here, this stack of gifted books, I mean, this is enough of a haul for me for, you know, a couple of weeks. But we weren't going to let it rest there. Dope had promised us that he knew some great digging spots, and boy did he. The first place he took us was a place called McKay's. It's like half-price books if you have half-price books in your area. So they have, you know, books, DVDs, board games, toys, and comics. They have music, DVDs, music CDs, and vinyl, you know, just, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And this place was huge. I found a couple of toys there that I thought were kind of cool I got for my son, and boy did we find a big stack of comics. So, you know, it's upstairs, you have to walk around. He said it's kind of like being a prison guard, and it is, because you have to walk up these stairs and you're on this thing that goes around, and there's just row after row of all of these comics, and they're separated by Independent and Marvel and DC. And then underneath that are all these short boxes that are just kind of unsorted madness. And the prices are truly insane, like truly insane, as you'll see here in a minute. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the books I found at McKay's, stop 1 on our digging tour. And I didn't say this before, but like I haven't had a chance to read most of these, and I definitely haven't had a chance to put them in new bags and boards. So some of them are bagged and some of them aren't, and it is what it is. I want to show the books off from this trip. So this one's great. This is book 2 of 2 of Lois Lane. This is a 2-issue miniseries that I can't exactly remember when it came out, but I have part 1. I have part 1 somewhere in a box over here, and I've always wanted to keep an eye out for part 2, and I found it. And you know, no bag. It's got a sticker on the back, and you would think that would drive me crazy. I only paid 25 cents for this book. 25 freaking cents. How could you pass it up, even with a sticker, right? Well, the nice thing about this place is their stickers peel right off. Completely clean. They do no damage. They don't pick up any ink. This place does it right. So these stickers peel right off, and your book is in just as good a shape as it was when you found it in the bin of madness. So this is beat up, and I mean, I just want to read it. So, you know, but being able to remove that sticker is huge for me, because even a 25-cent book, I don't want a sticker on. Really excited to have this and complete the set. I found a couple of run fillers for some decent prices. I mean, for 90 cents, I got DC Comics Presents Superman Team-Up books, Superman and Madame Xanadu. How cool is that? A couple of Mr. Miracles. So again, 90 cents. This is the Keith Giffen, JMD Mateus. This one is actually written by Keith Giffen with, I believe, nope, it's not a Kevin Maguire cover, but it kind of looks like one. So this is Mr. Miracle number 20. This is one I have the first 3, and so now I have issue 4. I just need to find 5 and 6. This is Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom. Picked this one up for $1.25. You know, not bad. All things balance out. So this is when Shiloh Norman, who's kind of Scott Free's assistant as a magician, he takes over the mantle of Mr. Miracle. I found a Warlord I didn't have. This is issue number 86. This one. All right, for 90 cents, I found a copy from the Sharon Baldwin collection. This is another one of the Tandy Whiz Kids. This is Superman versus. I just picked this up at the Indiana Comic Con, and I found another one. So this one I'm going to throw in my giveaway bin. But I thought this was really cool. You know, the fact that I didn't have this and then I came across it twice. So how cool is that? Superman, the Tandy Kids teaming up again. Look for this in a future giveaway. I have bought and sold the first 6 issues of the Max from Image Comics like 3 or 4 times. It's a book that, like, I think I'm never going to put the whole run together, and I'm ready to give it up. And then I start feeling guilty because I just love Sam Keith's art so much, and because the book itself is so weird. So I came across issue number 9 for 90 cents, picked this up, insta-buy. This run is actually kind of slowly coming together. There's 35 issues. The last ones are very expensive, but I mean, I've been able to find some. 90 cents, I'm filling the run out. Max is a very cool book with amazing artwork. Then On a live stream, Dope showed off Super Effers Forever issue 3, which was the third appearance. And then I found in a bin, I found issue 2. I know nothing about this book, aside from the title being absolutely hysterical. I can't believe it was released. I love it. So this is from IDW, 75 cents. You just don't pass up a book like that. So on this trip, like we would all be digging separately and then yell out to each other when we found something. Hey, is this something you want? Does this interest you? And Hagan was digging through a box and he says, hey, I found some Cerebus. And they were really cool. And I was like, I don't really collect it. I do every now and again. I pick one up, but like I buy the big trades. That's how I'm reading the book. So I was like, I think I'm going to pass. And he says they're 10 cents. 10 cents. I mean, when have you seen a book for 10 cents outside of the 1950s? So I got 3 issues of Cerebus. So we got issue 54. This is when the character, the cockroach, is taking on other personalities, other superhero personalities. So I think this is the Wolveroach era. So I got issue 54, issue 55, and issue 56. All of them for 10 cents a piece. That was an absolute no-brainer, even though I know I have this collected in a trade. The covers are cool. I think it's cool to get the ads and the letter columns from the books that you're reading. I just think I don't know, there's a lot missing from a trade. And for 10 cents, I just could not pass this up and throw it with my ever-growing Cerebus cover collection. These next ones are all TV or movies, and I was just blown away finding them. So the first one is number 1 in a 3-issue miniseries, a great Sam Raimi movie starring Liam Neeson. It is Darkman. So issue number 1 of Darkman. I know Lyle showed this off once on a Friday night hangout on Alan's stream. So this is the movie adaptation by Marvel Comics of The Deep. But this is a movie I remember seeing as a kid. And to find the movie adaptation, I thought was just really funny, especially since I'd seen a friend show it off. I'm going to check it out. It may not be something that I keep, maybe a giveaway, but for $1.75, I'm going to roll the dice on a movie adaptation of The Deep. Oh, I could not pass this up. Dope showed me and I was wondering if I had it. I'm going to have to double check and see, but for 50 cents, it was worth the risk. This is the movie adaptation of Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, one of my favorite original films. So I know I have for the Search for Whales. I have that one, the movie adaptation, but this one I really like the DC Star Trek books a lot. I don't know if I'll love an adaptation of a movie as much as I like the new and original stories that they tell. But again, 50 cents, you can't pass that up. No one remembers this show, but I remember this show. This is a show called Sledgehammer. It was a sitcom, but it was about a cop. He talked to his gun. His gun was like his most prized possession. It was not a good show, but as a kid, I remember thinking it was very funny. In one scene in particular, I remember the gun. They had an animatronic gun, and they made it talk to him. I think it was just a dream sequence or something, but the number 1 of his comic. I don't know anything about it, and it just sparked that trigger memory for me, so I had to pick this up. We've got 3 more to go from my McKay's haul. So next is Archie Comics, Archie and the History of Electronics. I love these promotional books so much. This one, though, was not a good read. Like Archie's ham radio adventure that I picked up recently was actually kind of a fun little Archie story. This one was way too educational. They spent like the first 10 pages just telling you how electricity is generated, and then they started going through like the history of electronic devices and inventions. It was too much education and not enough Archie. Like they didn't balance the fun, but I'm still really glad to have it because of the novelty. And this one, I think out of everything, I think I paid the most for this. This was like $3. And normally I would pass, but it's number 1, it's in really good condition, and number 2, the rest of the books that I picked up were so cheap, I felt like it all balanced out. This was a dollar book, if not less, when you compare with everything else I picked up. All right, the last 2 books I picked up are weird. So this first one is Tipper Gore Comics and Stories, issue number 5. Tipper Gore was Al Gore's wife, and she was known as being somebody who was against fun. She fought with, she was the person who put warnings and fought and advocated to get warnings put on CDs and movies and things to protect the children. Kind of a satanic panic kind of thing in that era. And so I'm really glad to see somebody made a comic and kind of made fun of her for her attitude towards those things. So this is issue 5. I love that there's more of these out there. So this is some classic black and white artwork. It's not the best, but for what they're doing, I kind of think it's cool. I don't know what this dismembered corpse thing is on the front, but I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was probably like $1, and it's totally worth it. And then the last book I picked up may be the pick of the entire haul, the entire trip. I don't know what this is. This is put out by Aardvark Vanheim, so I think it's a Cerebus related type of title. This is I spent 90 cents. This is Fornicators #1. Fornicators Incorporated #1. I have no idea. The back here advertises a bunch of other books that they did. So there were Cerebus in Hell, The League of Extraordinary Cerebus, Sim City with Cerebus, Cerebus Women. I don't know. There's a lot of books here that look like maybe came out around the same time. So I don't know what this is. I flipped through it. It does appear to be, it's Dave Sim artwork, but it's also all told. So the book is vertical like this. And I do really like Dave Sim's art, and Gerard, his background artist, if that's who did the work on this as well. And I think it is, because it just really looks like that. But I can't tell if these are strips or if it's going to tell a cohesive story. I bought this one for the title because it was just about the damnedest thing I've ever seen. So that was my haul from McKay's, and I'm pretty sure I came in over 20 but under 30 for that. Like, whatever it was I paid, a decent stack of books. I got out of there for a good price. I found some cool stuff. I found some weird stuff. And we go on to the next place. And the next place we went was called The Great Escape. And The Great Escape had really good books. But they were priced, if not high, they were priced fair. And so Silver Age books were running $10 to $15. And I know that they're worth that if they're in good condition, but not all of these were. I ended up at The Great Escape not buying one single comic book. I bought 2 action figures for my son. I bought 1 Hulk action figure thing for Dope. I helped Hagan. I think that's where we found his copy of Archie, where they get drafted into Vietnam. But aside from that, I didn't buy any comics, but I found Zardoz for $10. So for $10, I got Zardoz on DVD. Once again, let's just take a look at that great picture of Sean Connery in costume. And I think everybody knows why I've just got to see this movie. So Zardoz, get some. All right. If you're still with me, we went to one more place. And the one more place that we went to was called Rick's Comics. And as we're walking in the door, there's a sign on the front, and I just kind of ignored it. And Hagan said, "Did that say dollar books or 50 cents?" And I thought, oh no. Because they were. So they had all of these short boxes with books marked down to $1, and that meant they were all 50 cents. And as we're digging, the guy is bringing in more books and like stuffing them into the boxes. The boxes, in order to dig through them, you had to pull chunks out. So I was just like, we dug in there forever. And again, just like before, we're holding books up for each other, back and forth. Like, hey, do you have this one? Do you have this one? Does this interest you? And Hagan and I both got this one. I don't know anything about it from Aftershock Comics, called My Date with Monsters. We just thought the cover was cool. We both found a copy and thought, hey, we can book club this one. We can both read it and talk about it, maybe on a Sunday show or a Tuesday hangout vid or something. So the cover is very cool, very creepy. I'm excited to check it out. I got some very random issues of Superman that I didn't have, just run fillers, but this is a great cover. The Prankster with the chainsaw. Superman's protecting this guy who's in a hospital, and the prankster's dressed up like a doctor with the chainsaw, gonna cut him in half. Also, come on, Great TSR ad. I love these old Dungeons and Dragons ads on the back. We've got the death of Lex Luthor. So why is Death wearing a Superman shirt? Why does Lex only have one glove? Is he the new Michael Jackson? Read to find out why. I don't know. This one is great, man. So we've got Superman and we've got two dinosaurs who are, I think, wearing some kind of helmets. So this one I didn't have. And again, like 50 cents, instant buy. Gonna check that out for sure. Action Comics number 576. I can't believe this was 50 cents. I'm not a big Metal Men collector, but I am not gonna pass up a Silver Age comic. So this is Go-Go Check era. This is number 22. This was in the 50-cent bin. Dope held that up. He's like, you interested in that? And I was like, no, I don't really collect the Metal Men. It's 50 cents. Yeah, for 50 cents, I absolutely do. Couple more issues of Warlord to help fill in my run. I've got number 125. Both of these are post Mike Grell. He had already left the series, but I want to put the whole run together because, because I do. Because that's part of the sickness. And issue number 128. Come on, he's fighting a dragon. Who doesn't want to see that? Now, this is wild. I love Christmas covers, and this one's not really a Christmas cover, but it is a holiday special. So this is The Gift, a First Publishing holiday special starring Dreadstar, Nexus, Badger, Grimjack, Squalor, Meta 4, and Zero Tolerance. I don't know what this is, but it's got my boy Grimjack in it, and I'm going to check it out. And, almost anything from First Comics is kind of a solid read, so it's worth checking out. This was a cool find, 50 cents, and this is a big boy. This is like, this is a square bound book. This is cool. This is just, these next ones are just weird ones I had to grab. So Michael Moorcock is a fantasy writer, and this one here, this is issue 4 of 4 for Corum, the Bull and the Spear. I have no idea what this is, but for 50 cents, I was willing to roll the dice. And then, again, 2 from Michael Moorcock. This is issue 2 and issue 4 of Hawkmoon, the Jewel in the Skull. I'm assuming that's the jewel in the skull. That guy's got a jewel in his head. That's weird. So there's issue 2 for that, and issue 4. I will check those out and see if they're any fun to read. I hope so. The art actually looks kind of good. Then I've had on my list for a long time. Kevin Maguire did a stint on Supergirl, and he's one of my absolute favorite artists, and I have not been able to find them for a decent price. Found a huge chunk of them for 50 cents each. So just, he doesn't do the work on most of these covers, but it's interior. So Supergirl 21, 22, 24, 29, 30, 31, 32, he actually did. This is Kevin Maguire artwork on the cover here. And then finally issue 33. So those were the ones they had, and I know he doesn't do all of the art consecutively on this whole run. So I probably still want to get the ones that are in between that I didn't get, just so that I have all of the story. But I know at least the ones that I did grab there, he does all the interior art, and I love finding new art by him because he's one of my favorites. The last 50-cent book I picked up there was, and I did read this one, and it was great. This is Weird Western Tales number 36, starring Jonah Hex. Man, this was it was a good read, and it was rough. These Indians had been pushed off their land, these Native Americans, and they were fighting back, and Hex was, he was on both sides. He understood where the Native Americans were coming from, but, he also works for the government, and everybody treats him like crap. He's he's just a classic hard luck character. I think I really need to get more into these stories because they are reminiscent of anthology style morality tales, but you have this character of Jonah Hex to kind of carry you through all of them. For 50 cents, this was a great read. This was a lot of fun. Okay, so that was the 50-cent books that I picked up, but that's not everything. So then I found some more that, as I was just digging through in their shop, that were really fairly priced. A lot of these books I got for $3, $4, $5, and they're good. So this one here is Superman issue number 220, and this is a Superman Flash team up, and I want any Superman Flash team up, two of my absolute favorite characters. And so this one was a no-brainer. I think this one was $3. Significantly older, a 12 center. This is Superman number 186. So in this one, Clark Kent is a ghost, and Superman is telling everybody what his secret identity is, because that's the kind of stories that they would tell. This was another one like in pretty good shape too, for $3. Action Comics number 345. I have read this one. This one has Superman's secret identity being discovered by Alan Funt of Candid Camera, and it was weird. Most of the story seemed to be Candid Camera, like gags and things. I think it was a very popular show when it came out, and so they were just kind of riding those coattails. It was fun. It was fine, but like I said, it felt less like a Superman story. Like he was just kind of shoehorned in a few places. It really felt like they were really trying to sell this show. I wonder if CBS had anything to do with DC Comics at that time. I don't know. This one is a great cover. This is Adventure Comics number 333. This is the Legion of Superheroes having themselves a war, and a civil war. And Superboy's leading one side, and we got Brainiac and Chameleon Kid on the other. I haven't read this one yet, but just a great cover and in great shape. The colors on this one are really good. I think this one might have cost me $5, but totally worth it for the age and the condition. This one I know I have collected. This is Superboy issue number 123, where Clark and Lana are exploring an Egyptian tomb, and they find their doppelgangers as mummies. So, little weird, but I know I've read this one before. This one is in rough shape, but it's a really cool book. I actually already have this. I bought this just thinking it would be a fun one to do a giveaway or give it an A-OK. This is Adventure Comics number 303. I only paid $3 for this. This does actually have key significance. So it is funny that this guy here, do they tell his name? No, they don't, but he's the man who hunted Superboy. And he's got all these falcons who have kryptonite in their claws. So the key significance of this is it's the first appearance of Matter Eater Lad, who is one of my favorite Legionnaires because his power is so ridiculous. Like, he came from a planet where there was no food, so they had to figure out how to eat any kind of matter. Absolutely ridiculous, but for $3, a great pickup. This one I think is a huge upgrade. I believe I have this one. This is Jimmy Olsen number 88. There's a couple of these covers that do like Beatles things. So, Jimmy is playing music with the Beatles, and Superman can't stop dancing, even though Perry's telling him there's an emergency down the street. You got to save everybody. But no, he's too into he's rocking out. You can't stop a good rock out. So, like I said, I think I have this in much worse condition, and this one was $4. It's in really good condition. If this is an upgrade, then the other one goes in the giveaway pile. There's 3 more to go here that were really good pickups. This one just cracked me up. This is the Sacco Slugfest of 1976, which I was born in 1976. I remember the Sacco Slugfest. We weren't sure we were going to get past it, but 1977 came and went, and we absolutely did. This villain, the Black Spider, I don't understand his costume at all. Like, he's wearing, I get that it's a spider web, but doesn't it look like the frill that a clown would wear around his neck, or even like a doily that an old lady would knit? It's a weird costume choice. That's what I get out of this. It's a weird costume choice. So this was just a funny one to me, and it was a pretty fun read. I gave this one a read. Up next, I'm going to have to track down more of this. This was a great read. I really enjoyed this. This is Marvel. This is Creatures on the Loose by Marvel. This is issue 22, and this is Thongor. It is absolutely not a Conan ripoff. It is 100% a Conan ripoff. So this is, I mean, he's a barbarian, and he does barbarian things, but it was well written. It was a lot of fun, and I was glad to get it. So the Demon of Zangabal. Good times were had by all. And the last book, like, I literally found this in a box as we were checking out, and I could not be more excited to add this one to my Spire Christian collection. It's not in very good shape, but I barely paid anything for it. I think I paid $3. This is Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys by Spire Christian Comics. Spire Christian books. There's a lot of them. There's some Archie ones. I've got the one, Dope actually is the one who gifted me the Johnny Cash one. And then, they're always 39 cents, which is such an odd price. There's the Girl Who Loved the Swastika, the Switchblade, and the Cross. There's some pretty famous ones that I haven't been able to pick up yet. But whenever I see one of these and it's a decent price, I gotta pick it up. I feel like this may be the one comic book that I can finally get my dad to read one. And that's it. I mean, that is a lot of books. But I had a ton of fun. It was so generous of Dope to invite us and to host us and to show us around town. Now, he initially said, I've got 10 places I'm going to take you. And then he knocked it down to 4. And after that last one, when he said, I got one more place, Hagan and I both just kind of said, maybe it'd be better if we don't go to another place. Like I filled a freaking Shortbox on this trip. I mean, I think I got a ton of great books, ton of fun things to read, but more importantly was the fun that I had with my friends. Like, this was just an absolute blast. And I'm going to close here by saying, that's really what this was about. This was about hanging out with people who I have found a common bond with in terms of hobby, but who I think the friendship is much deeper than that. So without getting too corny, I'm going to quote my friend Chubbs and just say that, maybe the real haul was the friends we made along the way. Thanks so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Right.
Pretty good burp. I bet I can get a better one in later. Sorry, I want to show everybody Zardoz because it's so amazing. So Zardoz, get some.